All right. Hey, good evening. Let me make sure. Ooh, okay. Hello. We are here for day 5. Okay. It is 9 o'clock. It is not that late. You feel me? And we are in here. I'm so excited to talk about our topic for tonight. Y'all, the 4th of July yesterday, my mom was cooking and all that stuff I was talking about. It got my sleep all the way thrown off last night. Y'all see these eyes? I am a tired gal. So we're going to get in and out tonight. Got this good word. We might have to do a part 2 for this one because this one, it's a lot. I was like, I feel like I was just getting downloads, writing all kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, this is going all over the place. We're going to have to do part 2 later, maybe tomorrow. But today we are talking about how to live by faith. Okay? How to live by faith. Oh, I'm so excited. This is so good. Okay, so yesterday we were talking about how to find your voice, and we were saying that to find your voice, you have to be able to hear the voice of God, right? That was so good, and you hear his voice by creating closeness and intimacy with him, and being in his word. And I think we had a couple other ways. But being able to hear the voice of God is how we get to get direction on what the heck he wants us to do. So then that's how we get to tonight's topic, how to live by faith. Because listen, y'all, through personal experience, I have learned that even when the Lord speaks and tells you to do something, you know what he likes to do? Not give you all the directions. He likes to give you step one out of who knows how many steps. He likes to give you step 1 at a time. Okay, so tonight, look, draw the circle is gonna be our little go-to maybe for a little while because this is just so good. There is a chapter in here. It's day 20 called Go Set Ready. Okay, and it talks about how you'll never be ready. You know how they be telling people that are about to get married, like nobody's ever actually ready to get married, and people be trying to wait because I'm not ready. I gotta get this, that, gotta get all these ducks in a row, and you'll never actually be fully ready for that. Well, guess what? We will never be fully ready for what God is calling us to. Now, he has put everything within us that we need to do what he has called us to do. But as far as feeling 100% ready for whatever his calling is, it's probably not going to happen. You're going to be sitting around for a long time. Okay. So one of the quotes in there says, don't wait for more revelation. Be obedient to the amount of revelation that God has given you. The sequence of faith starts with go, not ready, set. Love that. So whatever step God has given you, that is where you start. Be obedient to the amount of revelation that he's given you instead of waiting for more revelation. So, Genesis 12:1, y'all, our good old father Abraham is the epitome of faith. I know we all know his calling and his level of faith throughout his calling and the level of faith that we see recalled of him in the Hall of Faith in Hebrews, whatever. He's a faith guru, okay? Genesis 12:1 says, now the Lord said to Abram, go, okay? Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, curse those who curse you, all the things. But verse 1, that's the important part. Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. The land that do y'all know what that means? That means just leave. It means leave the house, leave your family, leave your father's house, your kindred, and just start going. Just go. And I will show you a land that I'm going to take you to. Y'all, I don't think we don't really think that through. Like, we got to put ourselves in Abram's shoes. And if God said, just go and I'm going to show you a land, especially like, y'all, this is not us getting in our GPS sedans nowadays and, I don't know, start a little cross country, like, oh, okay, let me just do a little road trip or until God tells me what to do. No, they are like on foot, horse, camel, mules. This is not an easy just pack up and go and have a good little trip. And I don't know where I'm going. What? Okay, I'm sorry. That just blows my mind because I cannot imagine. Hebrews 11. I should have marked it. Sorry. I did good yesterday. I had my stuff marked and today I don't. Okay. Hebrews 11:8 says, where is 8? By faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to set out for a place that he was to receive an inheritance, and he set out, not knowing where he was going. By faith, he stayed for a time in the land that he had been promised. By faith, all the things. So yeah, basically it's just reaffirming that by faith, Abraham set out for a place to receive an inheritance, and he ain't know where he was going, okay? But I like that 11:6 says, and without faith, it is impossible to please God, for whoever would approach him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who seek him. So faith is something that is necessary in order to please God, okay? So those are my couple of staple verses that go with our topic of living by faith. Faith is a thing that just keeps us in a really dependent state on God. Is that the right word? Dependent state with God, on God. We have to depend on God heavily when we're just walking and living by faith, okay? We have to depend on his voice, being able to hear him step by step when he gives direction. And in order to hear him, we got to do what we talked about yesterday and be able to discern his voice through his word, through cultivating that relationship. Or else if we're walking by faith and we can't hear God, we got a problem. You know what I mean? So tonight I'm encouraging you, if anybody is in like decision paralysis, if you feel like God has told you something, but you ain't got steps A through Z figured out, or he hasn't given you the whole GPS route from start to finish. I know perfectionism will start kicking in when it comes to living by the Holy Spirit, and living by God's calling. Perfectionism is not a good mix with that. It is like oil and water, because baby, you will never get accomplished what God is calling you to if you trying to be a perfectionist and have it all figured out beforehand, or a control freak, or all the things. So don't get caught up in decision paralysis. Don't get caught up in the need to know. Don't get caught up in steps A through Z not being all laid out. That will live to a very unproductive faith walk. That's very unproductive when it comes to faith. And I'm preaching to myself too, because I am the control. I'm not going to speak control freak over my life. I have previously had a history of liking to have control. Okay, and I have previously had a history of liking things to be perfect. So I have had to learn in real time and over these past few years to let go of that decision paralysis, to not get stuck when I don't have everything figured out when it comes to what God is asking me to do, or else it gets real unproductive out here. So the other thing that I had a revelation of is that, well, this is kind of like it's a quote that I've heard before, and it came to mind when I was reading all this, was the fact that omission is just as bad as commission when it comes to sin, and slow obedience is also disobedience, which I don't know where I've heard that before, but being slow with our obedience is equivalent to being disobedient. And being disobedient is a sin of omission, which is just as bad as a sin of commission. So Hebrews 3, verse 7 and 15, and Hebrews 4:7 all say, today, if you hear his voice, harden not your heart. And Hebrews 3:7 and 15 say, as in rebellion. Hebrews 4:7 doesn't say that, but all three of them say, today, if you hear his voice, harden not your heart. Now, a lot of people talk about this in regards to salvation, and they say, they'll use this in the altar call a lot. If the Holy Spirit is talking to you, don't harden your hearts. Go ahead and give your life to Jesus today. I had a revelation of it today as, if you hear his voice, harden not your heart, as in rebellion. This is a warning against having an evil, unbelieving heart that turns away from God and becoming hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. Y'all, disobedience is also sin. So it's like, if you hear the voice of God in any way, shape, and form, you know what I mean? If he's asking you to do something, if he's giving you instruction, or if it is something like he's asking you to come to him, but in my case, I had the revelation of if the Lord is asking us to be obedient to whatever he's calling us to, we should not harden our hearts. That is sin. It's sin to rebel against God. It is sin to be disobedient to God. So I think we sometimes water down this idea of disobedience being sin. And I think we don't realize that disobedience is a sin of omission. We always think of sins of commission, I think, more than we think of sins of omission, not doing what God is telling us to do. We think of sin as being doing what God said not to do. Does that make sense? Sin is also not doing what God said to do. So 1 Samuel 15:23 said, disobedience and rebellion is as bad as the sin of sorcery/divination. And stubbornness is just as iniquity and idolatry. Y'all, disobedience or rebellion is just as bad as the sin of sorcery. And stubbornness is just as bad as iniquity and idolatry. So I think in 1 Samuel, the word is also reminding us, hey, disobedience and stubbornness, even though they sound cuter than divination, sorcery, iniquity, and idolatry, hey, they the same. They are one and the same. So that was a sobering reminder today. And when I read that, I thought of the story of Jonah. Jonah was running from God's call. God told him, hey, go to Nineveh. I need you to go to Nineveh and tell them this message that I'm going to give you to carry to them. He said, got a blast. Hopped on a boat to Tarshish. Tarshish. I cannot say that word. He headed somewhere else. And was it bad to go to Tarshish? There's not a lot of context in Jonah, and I probably should do some more research. Was it bad to go to Tarshish? Ooh, help us. The Tea City. Was it bad to go there? Probably not. I don't think he was going there to do nothing bad. I don't think. There wasn't context, so I don't know. But it was omitting and running from what God was telling him to do. So, there's good things to do and there's God things to do. You know what I mean? Good things are things that aren't morally incorrect, things that aren't biblically unsound. Getting on a boat and going to Tarshish or whatever. Okay. If I get in the car, if I decide to move to Atlanta tomorrow, okay, is that bad? No. But if I decide to move to Atlanta and God had told me, hey, I'm calling you to go do mission in Michigan, then that's bad. A good thing versus a God thing. We have to be able to decide okay, yeah, it's okay to do good things unless God is specifically asking us to do something else. Even if he had told Jonah, hey, go preach in Nineveh, and Jonah said, oh, I'm going to go preach in Tarshish instead. It's no, going to preach Okay, yeah, going to preach anywhere. Okay, cute. That's good. It's not unbiblical, but I told you to go do this. Anyways, I'm sorry. A good thing versus a God thing. Making sure that we're not omitting what God is telling us to do, even if it's just to do something else that's not necessarily bad. That's good. Oh, I need to know that too. So, living by faith, y'all. Living by faith, y'all. Oh, this is funny. My mentee, shout out to Ladybug. She sent me this TikTok today, and this is after I'd already like picked the topic. I love a good confirmation. She sent me this TikTok, and it was this person who was singing The Bridge of Oceans. It was like this person and God and angels, this little skit. So this person is singing, "Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the water wherever you have called me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of our Savior." Y'all, these songs, some of these worship songs that we be singing, I have caught myself in the past couple of years because I be hearing what I'm singing and I'm like, hold on, let me be careful with what I'm actually saying. And that's funny because this TikTok, the person is just singing his little heart out, talking about, "Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander," all the things. And God is like, "Oh, I really like what you're saying. I want you to quit your job and become an evangelist in Sudan." And the person just like stops. And he starts singing this other song because it was like, hold on, I did not mean what I was saying. You know what I mean? We sing all these songs. We say, "Lord, here I am, use me." We talk about how big our faith is and how we'll do what you want me to do. I'll say what you want me to say, all the things. We be singing all the songs, claiming all the claims. And then when God actually asks us to do something, or if he prompts us to do something, especially if it's stretching or uncomfortable or not according to our plan, are we really ready to do it? Are we really ready to do it, y'all? That is the funny part, man. When he asks us to do something uncomfortable, if he asks us to do something that is outside of our norm, if he asks us to do something that doesn't look like it's anything that we can even accomplish, are we willing to step out on faith and actually do what God is calling us to do? Y'all, God has asked me to do some crazy stuff over these past few years. Y'all, I mean, from career changes to whole life switcheroos, like go from this career field to that career field, go from this job to that job, scratch that plan, throw away that whole. And I'm not saying he's made me throw away whole degrees, but seemingly I know he's going to redeem everything in time. Even as far as laying down things that I had built my identity on, renouncing my Greek organization, detaching from certain friendships, not like I still love them, but, having to create space and boundaries with people, even just speaking boldly about my faith to people, to family. I have family members even looking at me like, girl, like, people be thinking I'm doing too much, you know what I mean? But y'all, living by faith and doing what God is calling you to do, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how much it don't make sense, no matter how much you don't know what the end may be, what the next step is after the step he's asking you to do, it's worth it. And I'm only 2 toes into the walk. So, I'm no pro at this, but I can say I know it's worth it. I know it's worth it because I know the Lord will honor our faith. If he wants us to be of faith, which clearly his word has said, there's no way that he would be inconsistent and not honor us living a life of faith. So that is my encouragement for us tonight. That is my prayer for us tonight, is that, y'all, I do that when my nose is itching, that we would live by faith, that we would say, go, set, ready, and not be stuck at ready, set, and not ever go or delay our go. Y'all, go now. Don't wait for more revelation. Be obedient to the amount of revelation that God has given you. We'll do a faith part 2 because I love this topic. Ooh, I love faith. Y'all, because I got quite a faith testimony so far in these 20s. But that's all for tonight. Illy SM, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.